Good afternoon. This is your host, Gilbert Franklin. Glad to be with you on Source of Information. Once again, it is Wednesday, and we have some good information for you. A while back, we talked about survival benefits, and we're continuously getting a lot of questions regarding that. And because of that, from time to time, we're going to be coming back with some of the most asked questions regarding survival benefits because a lot of you are not aware there's survival benefit exists. So you could reach me with your question today on 305 945 1580. 305 945 1580. I would love to hear from you guys. And today, I need all of you to call with your questions regarding survival benefits or any other question you have. While you have me, take the opportunity. I'll answer your question. But I need for you guys to call. A lot of you, when I run into you, you always tell me that. Well, I'm listening, but I don't call. I need for you to call today. 305 945 1580. 305 945 1580. So without further ado, let's go straight into the information regarding survival benefits. Now, what is survival benefits? Survival benefits is survival benefits are paid to widow. No, first of all, let's survival benefits are benefits that's from Social Security. The beneficiary or the person that has worked and accumulate 40 credit. When this person died, his benefits that he accumulated over the years that he has worked, then his spouse or his children, if they are under the age of 19, they are entitled to those benefits. What are we talking about? We're talking about getting a monthly income for those individuals, whether it's the spouse or children. So we're gonna go into some of the most asked questions, so we could enlighten you about survival benefits. And as you call, I will take the time to take your call, answer your question. Now, Social Security survival benefits are paid to widows, widower, dependents, or eligible workers. This benefit is particularly important for young children. I say young children because when you take the child care benefits, what it does, and it works in the same way with the survival benefit. What it does is that assure that there's an income that's coming in every single month for that particular individual. Okay, if you have 2 kids, 3 kids, it's going to be divided equally so that each person get a check every single month until they reach the age of 18 or 19 if they are still in high school. Now, a spouse, a widow or widower may receive survival benefits at the same time when the other spouse passed away. However, if there's no young children living in the house, then they start receiving survival benefits at the age of 60. Now, survival benefits, we discussed who qualify for. We told you that it's widow, widow. It's paid to the widow, and widower and dependent and eligible workers. That benefits is particularly important for children. Now, who qualify for Social Security survival benefits? A surviving spouse, a surviving divorced spouse, and unmarried children or dependent parent. All are people that are maybe eligible to receive a monthly survival benefits based on the deceased worker's earning. In addition to, well, they also talk about this one lump sum that you receive. The one lump sum, really, what it is $255 that you are given a one time. So we don't talk much about it because if you get $255, you could find many things to do with it. However, it was at one time it was $500. So I think when they change the retirement age to the age of 67, they reduce that amount to $255. Most people probably, I would venture to say, that will not apply for that benefits. So um, that is something that's there. And the people that could be qualifying for the one-time lump sum death benefit is qualifying spouse. Now, they say qualifying spouse. That's meaning that this person is still married during the time that the person deceased, or a child that meet the certain requirement. Now, how much is the survivor benefits from Social Security? A widow or widow at full retirement age or older generally gets 100% of the worker's basic benefits amount. So a widow or a widower start receiving the survivor benefit at the age of 60. But under a full retirement age, gets between 71% and 99% of the worker's basic benefit amount. What that means is that if you decide to receive those benefits at the age, that's interesting, at the age of 60 to the age of to 60, under full retirement age. You receive under full retirement age right now for a lot of people is 66 and 8 months. So under full retirement, depending how early you receive it, you get about 71% to 99%. So if you start receiving it closer to the full retirement age, you will get the full amount. Now, interestingly enough, I usually give you guys this advice and said to you that if you continue to work, you could receive your survival benefits at an early age. Let's say you start receiving at 60 and you continue to work, and meanwhile that your benefits, your own benefits, is growing as you're working, you're contributing to Social Security. So those benefits will continue to grow. Now, when you reach a full retirement age, or even if you continue receiving till the age of 70, well, there's going to be a huge difference. So at that time, then you go back to receiving your own benefits and forego the survivor benefits. Now, to do that, at time of when you put in the application, by the way, survivor benefits, the application you have to go to the Social Security office to apply for the survivor benefits. Now, at the time of applying for survivor benefits, you do what they call a restricted application. So that would allow you, when you get to that age of when you're going to take your full retirement package on your own credit, then at that point, then what you will do is let them know that they will discontinue the survivor benefits and start you under your own credit, which at the time will be higher than the surviving benefits. So this is something that definitely you guys have to keep that in mind, because very important. You cannot receive both at the same time. You're either receiving the survivor benefits, and if the survivor benefits end up higher, then there's no need for you to go back and say, I'm going to take my benefits. In fact, you could continue to work, and as long as it's higher, and it all depends. You might want to stop working, but if it's higher, you could continue receiving both. And even while you continue to work, if your benefits doesn't reach or surpass the survivor benefits, you just stay with the survivor benefits and continue receiving it. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. We need to hear from you. So the other question that most people usually ask, how much is survivor benefits from Social Security? A widow at full retirement age generally will receive 100% of survivor benefits. Now, when you made the comparison to spousal benefits, where spousal benefits you're receiving 50%, okay, of what your spouse is receiving. But that's not the case with survival benefits. You're receiving 100% of their benefits. What I mean by that, let me explain it a different way. So if the deceased spouse was receiving $2,000 under Social Security benefits, you by when that spouse is deceased, you will receive the $2,000. So even if you were receiving, let's say for example, you were receiving Social Security yourself, then again, survival benefits will kick in. Okay, so now let's say for example, you are receiving 1,500. Then now you no longer will be receiving the 1,500 a month. They will transfer that. Then you start receiving 2,000 a month. So survival benefits and spousal benefits basically works pretty much the same. And the interesting part with survival benefits, it's not only a current spouse is entitled to get that benefit, but also an ex-spouse could apply for the benefits also. So, of course, once you have an ex-spouse in the picture and the current spouse, then the amount or the percentage that you're going to be receiving is going to be much lower, because remember they're taking it from the contribution that spouse, the deceased spouse, have made. So that's something that you should keep in mind. And if you were to receive, if you thought that you were going to receive $2,000, for example, and then all of a sudden they cut it in half, you're going, wait a minute, why is it half? Well, remember there's another spouse that came into the picture. The other spouse went to apply for survival benefits too. Now, here's a question that come to mind as I was talking to myself. What if that you received the full amount and the ex-spouse decided 2 months, 3 months later and decided to apply for the benefits? So Social Security will make a determination whether the ex-spouse will be getting any benefits, and they probably determine that the length of time that the ex-spouse was married, because regular spousal benefits, you have to be married with that individual for 10 years for you to be receiving those benefits. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, but you definitely will receive for a widow or widower, you will receive 100% of the worker's basic benefit amount. When a spouse dies, how much does Social Security? How much Social Security does the survivor get? We discussed that. That's 100%. The survivor get 100% of the deceased spouse benefits. 100%. And the difference between the benefits and between widow benefits and survivor benefits, and we discussed that earlier. The difference is that the widow benefits, you get 50%, but survival benefits, you get paid 100%. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, Social Security survival benefits per month average, depending on the areas. For example, if you take California, it's an average around $3,177. In New York, it's around a little bit more, $3,264. New Jersey's $3,400. Now, that's interesting. I wonder why New Jersey is higher. Washington, that's the top 5. Washington, I guess that's Washington State, is $3,300. Now I know most people that's listening from Florida would like to know that particular amount. So we'll definitely have to look that information up for Florida um, in terms of what is the percentage of survival benefits. Now, the person that should apply for survival benefits, as we say, widows, widowers, minor children. Now, older disabled children. Now, let's let's stop right there. Remember, in the child care benefits, if you have a child that's disabled before the age of 22, that child is entitled to child care benefits. So they would get a percentage of your of what your credit is, or a percentage of your benefits. Now, that doesn't mean that your benefits will be reduced. You will still be receiving if the surviving worker benefits is $1,000, for example. They'll still be receiving $1,000, but they probably the disabled child will probably get somewhere around $450, $500. In a situation for survival benefits, now that's totally different, because the surviving child will get basically a greater percentage, and I guess the less people that's drawing from those credit, the more that the amount of the disabled child will receive will be much higher. So it's good that they have included a lot of those benefits for disabled child, because as a parent, once you no longer here, then the responsibility of child care for that individual will go on somebody else. And that's also bring something to mind, and I keep promising that we'll come back on a particular Wednesday to discuss to discuss well, I'm drawing a blank about it, but when I remember, and we'll discuss it. There's a particular friend that I have to invite, and she will talk about that particular information, and as I remember, and then I will bring it back. Let's get back to survival benefits. So that information is included in there in terms of disabled children, and also dependent parents of the deceased may be able to receive survival benefits. Now, generally, survival benefits continue for life unless the spouse remarried before the age of 55. Let me repeat that, because I know that there's a lot of people going to ask a lot of questions about that. And, deservingly so. If you do not get remarried before the age of 55, you could continue to receive survival benefits for life. Here's a reason for you not to get married after the deceased your spouse is no longer with us. Okay, can you collect Social Security and survival benefits at the same time? The answer to that is no. You cannot collect survival benefits and Social Security benefits at the same time. However, the amount that's higher, that's the amount that you will be receiving. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. I think I'm going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to come back with more information regarding survivor benefits. You're listening to Source of Information with Gilbert Franklin. As always, a pleasure for me to be here with you. And I'll be back in a little while.
Shout it chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles.
All right, we're back. We're back. Now, the question is the next question that I have here, and remember, we're discussing survivor benefits today, and most asked question regarding survivor benefits. By the way, every time I come on air, I got to give the credit to Ben Crump, which is he's a lawyer that normally you will see his name when a person is arrested or killed, usually representing the parents in that case or the family members. And a while back, he posted on his Twitter feed that there's a benefits that's out there, and people in our community they are not aware of it, because whenever you have a deceased person, then whoever the survivor normally have a hard time, because at that point they there's an income that's normally coming into the house, and that income usually stop. So if they're not aware that there is a benefits that they could target, they could go into and draw from, then it's going to be a very difficult time. And I'm certain that a lot of people that are listening either have been through a situation as such, or know someone, a friend or a family member that have lost a deceased, someone, and left family members behind. And normally, especially when it's the wife that's left behind, it's very difficult for them to handle all that situation. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. So let's continue with the information. So I give Ben, I give the credit to Ben Crump for making me aware of that benefits, because man, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I was not aware of the survivor's benefits until he brought it to my attention. And when we went to research it, and we realized there is such a benefits, and from that point on, we just ran and just go with it. Hello, you on the air?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, bon pose une question. Moi, j'ai un même qui dit moi que il était marié à Marielle depuis près de 15 ans. So, ils viennent divorcer, mais ils still restent ensemble, parce qu'ils divorcé, mais ils ont grandi ensemble. Est-ce que si mademoiselle a collecté social qu'on y a, est-ce que si toutefois Maria t'a mouru, est-ce que mademoiselle a bénéficié social Maria parce qu'il divorce à Maria?
All right, I'm going to lower your volume for me. I'm going to translate that. Her question is, she has a friend that been married with her husband for 15 years. They live together, but they're not divorced, right?
Yeah, they divorced.
They divorced?
They divorced.
Okay. Go ahead.
They divorced, but they together as a friend.
Uh-huh.
But they got one child together. But the child is big now. He's 30 years old now. So he said, if I die, everything is yours. So I want to know if he can beneficiate for that as a social security. because
if
he make more money than than the lady.
okay, if the ex-husband or ex-husband
Yes.
dies, of course she's entitled to survival benefits. She will get
Oh, okay.
100% of what he should be receiving if he hasn't been receiving Social Security any income from Social Security yet. So
Yeah, because she received Social Security, but the one part of her ex-husband is more money than what she received.
they will stop hers and give her her ex-husband.
Oh, okay. But they still alive, but they want to know
Oh
if
yes,
something happened to the husband.
if something happened to the husband, she will get 100% of what the husband is receiving,
Oh, even the divorce.
even if they divorce. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's
Now
what I want to know.
they have to be in a case like that. You said they've been married they were married for 15 years.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, for 15 years.
Now, as long she she doesn't remarried.
But she married, but she was divorced. She's single.
No, she was married with him, right?
With him.
You're right. So as long she doesn't remarried to someone
No,
else.
no. She's single now. She don't have nobody in her life.
All right. Yeah, she could continue collecting his Social Security benefits or the survival benefits for life.
Oh, okay. That's what I want to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling, and thank you
Okay,
for
you're
listening.
welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Don't think that the fact that this portion, we do it in English, that doesn't mean that you can't call it and ask me the question in Creole. I'll translate it. And if you speak English, let's do it in English, because I want to make sure that this information get to everyone. And what I'm going to do, the 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock hours today, we're also going to discuss survivor benefits too. So stay tuned. There's more information that's going to come back in Creole. So we're going to do the Creole version today. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. So we're going to continue with the information. We thank the listener for calling with that information, because, again, that fall in line with exactly what we're talking about. Right now, if you have all the information that you need, so when that time comes, you're not really struggling to find out, wait a minute, what am I entitled to? It's right now, you get you listen to source of information, take those resources, those information, store it, and if that time comes, we hope that it doesn't come that way, but we all eventually will go, and when that time comes, you'll have the necessary information, whether the information is regarding retirement benefits or any other benefits that we discuss on air. So it's vitally important for you to do that. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Now, can you collect your deceased parent's Social Security? That's an interesting question, because I often hear people tells me that, well, I work. Once I work, when I'm no longer when I'm no longer around, then those benefits doesn't go to anyone. So the Social Security benefits, it says within a family, a child can receive up to half of the parent's full retirement or disability benefit. If a child receiving survival benefits, they can get up to 75% of the deceased parent basic Social Security benefits. Now, when they say, remember the word is a child. So remember earlier they discussed about you getting child care benefits up to the age of 19 if you remain in high school, if you remain in school. And oftentimes, if you've been listening to me for a while, you hear me emphasize on this, that if you were to take that amount, if they're getting 75%, of the survivor's benefits, of the deceased benefits, 75%, if you put that aside, you'll definitely, for that child, when they're ready to go to college, you'll have money there for them if you're able to do it. So um, it's much easier when there's two income coming in and you apply for child care benefits, and it's much easier for you to leave that money aside than I guess with a single parent. So that's something to consider. So the answer to that, yes, you will get your the parents' benefits, which you'll get 75% of the survivor benefits. Now, how long does a widow get a survivor benefits? And the answer to that is for life. So survivor benefits is there for life. Now, a survivor benefits more than spousal. A survivor benefits more than spousal benefits, and it's yes, because spousal benefits you only get 50% of the deceased benefits, where survivor benefits you're getting 100%. Um, Let me go back, because if you're getting 50%, this person is still alive, is not yet deceased. So, but survivor benefits, it's made for when a spouse is deceased. At that point, you're getting 100% of that benefits. So, survivor benefits is definitely much higher than the spousal benefits. Um, so there's a question here. When my husband died, do I get his Social Security in mine? The answer to that, no. You don't get both. You will get the amount that's higher. The highest amount, that's the amount that you will receive. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Let me hear from you. Let me hear your question. How much does a spouse get for survivor benefits? 100%. A spouse will get 100% of the survivor benefits. And well, this question I'm going to skip it because it's how do I get $16,728 from Social Security bonus? Uh, there's various answers here. So work as long as you can. The later you retire, the higher your benefits will be. Remember that 70 is the maximum age. Years work, if you work less than 35 years, you will have a reduction in your Social Security check. High salary, with a high salary, you will have a high retirement. So that's how you get to a bonus of 16,728, and that's yearly. That's not monthly, because the last estimate, the highest amount for individuals that receiving Social Security is in the 3,000s, not 16,000. So they're talking about for someone who works 35 years plus, getting an average salary will be receiving 16,000 and change for their retirement benefits. Now, the survivor benefits, the only way you may be denied survivor benefits is that if you're a minor convicted of intentionally causing your parents' death, you may be denied for survivor benefits on the earning record of your parents. So that's the only reason why you may be denied for survivor benefits. Or the other one, if you're remarried. Once you're remarried, then you're no longer eligible to receive survivor benefits from the particular spouse, from the deceased spouse. Now, the 100% of the survivor benefits upon your death, or your survivor will receive the same monthly benefit that you're receiving. In other words, I give you the example earlier. If you were receiving $2,000, then upon your death, your survivor will receive the $2,000. Okay, so it doesn't mean that all the years that you have worked, the benefits, your benefits will go towards your surviving wife spouse, or if you have children under the age of 19, then they could participate in getting some of those benefits. 305 945 1580. 305 945 1580. Give me a call. We have time to get a few calls, so don't hesitate to call with your question. Now, survival benefits, normally it takes about 2 to 3 months when you put in the application. Okay? So it's not something that takes a long time like disability benefits. So it takes about 2 to 3 months. And of course, the reason it probably take 2 to 3 months for some people is if they don't have all the information, so they have to wait for the information. They have to give you time to go get it. So it may take 2 to 3 months. Another thing about survival benefit, it's not retroactive. What I mean by that is that if the person passed away, for example, in January 2023, and here we are in September 2023, you cannot go back and ask for payments from January to September. You could only start receive benefits when the application is put in Social Security benefits and Social Security. So it's not retroactive, but when you are receiving 100% of the deceased benefits. 305 945 1580. 305 945 1580. And don't forget to subscribe. We are on live right now on YouTube. If you type WSRF 1580 AM, and you will see my picture. Oh, by the way, let's give a big shout out to Nancy of Cultural. Nancy, big shout out for you. Nancy is the person that's responsible for this shirt that I'm wearing. So Nancy, big shout out to you. Hopefully you're listening. So we'll repeat it and give Nancy a big shout out on this site and Creole in the next hour also. To continue, how long does it take to get survival benefits? We mentioned that's 2 to 3 months. And survival benefit is paid on a monthly basis, just like any other benefits. Now, depending on the first, I think it's the first letter of your last name, it falls on a particular week. The second week, the third week, or the second week, or the third week, or the fourth week. So that's the way the payments are usually distributed. Like we mentioned, the maximum Social Security benefits in 2023 is $3,627, and that's at full retirement age. Now, if you wait till 70, it goes up to $4,555. Now, I would be interesting to do a survey to find out who would be willing to wait till 70 to receive $4,555. Now, that depends on your contribution. If you've worked and contribute a higher amount to Social Security, then yes, those numbers reflect to what you will be receiving. Okay, I don't want I quickly correct myself in that, because a lot of people will automatically think that, well, I should be getting $3,000. If I wait till age 70, I will be getting $4,500. No, and they even give you at the age of 62, a person benefit amount maybe. Hold on one second. $2,572 if retiring at the age of 62. So it depends on your earning full retirement when they take benefit at the time of at the age when you take your benefits. So remember, for a lot of people, full retirement age right now is 66 and 10 months. I think it will be for next year, and after that, it's basically anybody that was born in from 1960 and up. Your full retirement age is 67. Okay, so that's a little added bonus information besides the survivor benefits we're discussing there. How long does a Social Security for a deceased parent last? The benefits stops when your child reaches the age of 18, unless your child is a student or disabled. Within a family, a child can receive up to half of the parent full retirement or disability benefits. Okay, let me repeat that. Benefits stop when your child reaches the age of 18, or unless your child is a student or disabled. If he's a student, then the benefits will stop at the age of 19. If they disabled, the benefits continue for life for them. And they will receive, they can receive up to half of the parent's full retirement or disability benefit. Okay. How do I get my deceased mother's Social Security? Well, there's a number you could apply, and if you are under the age of 19, as they mentioned there, then yes, you could apply and get your parents' benefits. But if you are older, no, you won't be eligible to receive those benefits. Okay? So we want to make that clear. What is the 10-year marriage rule for Social Security? Well, you can receive your ex-spouse benefits based on your own record, as long as you are married for at least 10 years. Okay? That's one of the questions we received earlier. So if you're married and divorced, you can receive your spouse's benefits as long as you have a minimum of 10 years of marriage. So now, do they back pay widow benefits? In most cases, you will receive back pay based on the date you applied, and rather than on the date of your late spouse's death. So remember, I had mentioned earlier that one thing about survival benefits is not retroactive. So you cannot go back and trying to claim at the time of death. You could only claim at the time that the application is put in Social Security. Remember, survival benefits, you cannot go online and do it yourself. You have to go to the Social Security Bureau, and an agent there will help you with the survival benefits application. And remember, when you, especially if you're young, under the retirement age, you do what we call a restricted application. The restricted application would allow you to receive survival benefits while you continue to work, and when you reach your full retirement age, or you decide to wait till the age of 70, and you'll be surprised because that's becoming more popular. I was talking to a friend, I think it was last week, and we got to talk about that. And this is the same friend, I think it was last year. She had called me and asked me a question about retirement benefits. And she's, I was very surprised because I thought that she would be receiving her benefits. And she told me, no. because she's receiving a pension. So not only she's receiving a pension, but she's continuing to work. So with the work, the money that she's getting from work and her pension, the Social Security amount that she should be receiving, she's going to allow it to continue to grow and receive her benefits at the age of 70. Now, listen, benefits, full retirement right now is 66 and 8 months, 10 months, whatever it may be for you. So we're talking about 3 years and a couple of months. For some people, the people that the age of 60 and up, your full retirement age is going to be 67. Well, 3 years, you'll be able to receive a much higher amount than what you would be receiving full retirement age. So it's something that's getting more popular with different individuals. And listen, especially if you have a spouse, those benefits then when you're no longer around, well, the spouse could enjoy those benefits on your behalf. Besides, we're not going to be able to take anything with us when we go. So that's something to really think about. Now, do widows get survivor benefits if they remarried? If you remarried before the age of 60, you cannot collect survival benefits. If you remarried before the age of 60, you cannot collect survival benefit. Now, does marriage affect Social Security benefits for spouses? It really doesn't affect it. I think in a sense where the only thing, as mentioned here, if you remarried, then before the age of 60, survivor benefits, you cannot receive it. Now, what is a widow entitled to when her husband died? Upon losing your husband, the determination of what the surviving wife will inherit will be based on combination of state law, the husband's last will and testament, and living trust. That's what I wanted to discuss with you guys. Living trust is something that's very important, or living will, as they call it here. So that's something that I do want at some time. In fact, today would have been perfect if I knew that certain circumstance would have happened. But nevertheless, then we could have planned for this, to have that individual here with us. Maybe we could get her to do an English version and possibly get her to do a Creole version afterward. So we will work on that. Hopefully, we're going to try to make a plan in October to do that. Now, can two wives collect Social Security from one husband? A widow or widower and a divorced ex-spouse or multiple ex-spouses can draw survivor benefits on the same person earning record without affecting what the other receives. Remember, we were discussing that earlier, and I thought that the percentage could reduce. But the answer to that is that, yes, they can draw survivor benefits. That's survivor benefits we're talking about. Can we draw survivor benefits on the same person earning record without affecting what the other person is receiving? So here you go. Be mindful of that because, you do have, know that, yes, an ex-spouse could come back and collect benefits based on your earning records, okay? Now, the difference between Social Security and spousal benefits and survivor benefits. That's a good question. Social Security benefits is based on your own working credit, okay? A spousal benefit is based on a spouse working credits. Survival benefits is when the spouse is no longer with us, then the surviving spouse could collect benefits from the deceased spouse based on their earning record. That's the most easiest way to answer that for you. But and I like the fact that spouses, when they were creating this law, that they take in consideration every incident that may happen, whether losing a spouse, what's going to happen when you lose a spouse, a child, additional benefits that's going to come from the beneficiary to take care of a child, or at least put some money aside for that child when they go into college. They will have some sort of income there that will take care of some of the expenses associated with college. And they also take into consideration a disabled child. So out of all the laws, and I'm not a lawyer, so so I couldn't comment much on the different laws that they have. But when I saw the different laws in comparison to Social Security, Title 17, I think it is. I don't remember the exact title. But the way it was constructed, it was really well constructed, so that it can be helpful to a surviving child, a surviving spouse, a child with disability, a young child, even though for the young child they capped it at the age of 19. Now, there's other things that we will be discussing in the future in terms of the viability of Social Security. So in the future, we will be coming back talking about that, and what are the plan for the lawmakers, what they plan to do to make sure that our children, when it's their time to receive Social Security, that they're able to receive it. Again, my name is Gilbert Franklin. You could always reach me at 954-667-4885, 954-667-4885. Again, once again, it's a pleasure, and hope to see you guys real soon. Okay? Bye-bye.
We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know